My family has two arranged marriages. The one with the higher college entrance exam score marries Jason, who has the top score, and the one with the lower score marries the village idiot. After I was reborn, Jason only secretly helped my sister with her studies. On the day of the college entrance exam, he even had someone tie me up to prevent me from taking the test. My marriage was thus decided to be with the idiot. Everyone thought I would make a scene, but I put on my wedding dress and walked to the fool's house myself. It was only because in my past life, I scored 687 points and married Jason. But my sister couldn't accept marrying a fool and drank pesticide to commit suicide. Jason silently attended the funeral, more attentive to me than ever before. When I was 5 months pregnant, he pushed me off a tall building, killing both of us. I still remember what he said then: "If you hadn't changed Jenny's grades, she wouldn't have died. This is all your fault." If I could do it all over again, I would let them be. But on the day I married the fool, Jason held me tight, refusing to let me go. Grandma held my hand tightly, her hair turning white with worry over my impending marriage to a fool. Meanwhile, my younger sister handed our parents her university acceptance letter with both hands. They immediately beamed with joy, surrounding her with warm questions and care. "Dad, Mom, I haven't let your hard work go to waste," my sister said, deliberately casting a sidelong glance at me. "Jenny's really something." Mom's voice sharpened. "Unlike your sister, we worked hard to support her education, and she just refuses to even take the college entrance exam." Grandma couldn't bear it any longer. She grabbed my sleeve and rolled it up, revealing the shocking purple bruises encircling my arm. "Can't you see?" Grandma's voice trembled. "Is it her fault for not taking the exam?" My parents avoided my gaze and turned away to praise my sister. They didn't dare offend Jason, the prospective college student, tacitly allowing him to hurt me. Grandma took me back to her room, her murky tears falling onto the back of my hand. "Grandma sees clearly, you study harder than Jenny. You won't do worse than her on the college entrance exam." Grandma kept nagging, telling me how I once spent 2 months going up the mountain every day to gather herbs just to buy Jason a pair of cloth shoes fit for city folks. "He ruined your future just to marry Jenny, that Jason, such a cold-hearted boy. Poor you, you'll end up marrying a fool and living a miserable life." I gently patted Grandma's hand. "Grandma, marrying a fool isn't so bad, it's not like it'll kill me. Marrying Jason, that would kill me." The pain of falling from a tall building, my bones breaking inch by inch, made me absolutely certain not to marry him. I went to work at the supply and marketing cooperative as usual. Jason came over with Jenny. He commanded imperiously, "Go, bring out your most expensive TV." Jenny coquettishly tugged at his sleeve. "Jason, don't be too extravagant. The betrothal gifts you gave me are already more than enough." After she spoke, she turned to me, smiling brightly, and asked, "Sis, what betrothal gifts did your brother-in-law's family give you?" I ignored her and coldly quoted the price of the TV. Jenny wore a worried expression for me. "Oh no, my parents spent all the money on my dowry, and my sister will have nothing when the time comes. What should we do?" She then turned to Jason, her voice coquettish. "Jason, why don't you also get my sister the most expensive TV? We can't let her lose face too much." Jason frowned. "That won't do. How could she be on the same level as you?" His tone was condescending, laced with a lofty pity. "How about this, I'll buy you a TV." A chill ran through me. In Jason's heart, I would never measure up to Jenny. Then why didn't he make it clear sooner? If I had known earlier, I would never have married him in my past life. In my previous life, Jenny cried and wailed, accusing me of swapping her college entrance exam results, causing her to be forced to marry an idiot. He believed me. After the wedding, he was endlessly gentle with me, putting on a show of deep affection. Yet, when I was at my most vulnerable and trusted him the most, he unhesitatingly pushed me into hell. Snapping out of the painful memories, I smiled and reached out my hand. "All right, the money for the TV, convert it to cash for me." My younger sister grabbed Jason's hand tightly, her eyes red-rimmed. "It's all my fault. If I hadn't gotten into college, sister could be with Jason. And I wouldn't have to go through all this trouble just to hold Jason's hand now. I suspect there's something wrong with her mind. How could she say something like that? Now I see clearly, they're deliberately showing off in front of me, just to disgust me. Jason looked at me with contempt and said righteously, "I'm your brother-in-law, how can you have such filthy thoughts?" He turned to his sister and assured her, "Jenny, I want no one but you." I rolled my eyes. A guy like Jason? I'm not interested. Don't act all sentimental in front of me. If your sister really can't trust him, she might as well tie him to her belt so he doesn't go around disgusting people. Jason's face turned green. He was furious and ashamed. Of course, someone who wants to marry an idiot speaks so crudely. Even if I don't interfere, you still won't get into college. I sneered coldly, marrying an idiot is still better than marrying a murderer. Jason's expression changed instantly, and he looked at me deeply. I lifted my head to meet his gaze, but he suddenly looked away, unwilling to meet my eyes. Back home, Grandma and I sat together in the yard shelling peanuts. Grandma sighed, "You and Jenny are getting married on the same day. I wonder if that fool will lose his mind at the wedding. When that happens, your sister will definitely tease you." As she spoke, her eyes welled up with tears. I asked around in the neighboring village. Everyone says the scar on Zane's face was self-inflicted, and it's really ugly. My poor granddaughter, how will you get through life from now on? Just then, a commotion came from outside the door. It was the postman's voice. "Is Mia there? There's a letter for you. Your future husband's family sent you some photos." I took a thick envelope, heavy in my hands, clearly more than just photos inside. When I opened it, besides a photo, there was a thick stack of money, 2,000 yuan in total, and dozens of various vouchers. The neighbors watching the commotion in the yard were all stunned. Oh my God! So many things. Zane's family must really value Mia. Quick, look at the photo. What does that fool look like? The man in the photo had sharp features and a determined gaze, not looking like a fool at all. Now, it was my turn to be dumbfounded. Who is this handsome guy? The surrounding chatter grew louder. This definitely isn't Zane. Where does a fool look like that? I think Mia's just embarrassed and grabbed some random photo to fool everyone. That $2,000? Probably just part of her own little act. Someone started heckling, "Mia, why don't you give me that 2,000? I'll go to the fool's house to cancel the engagement, and then I'll marry you." I clutched the photo, my mind shrouded in a fog. At that moment, Jason and Jenny pushed through the crowd and walked in. Jenny saw the photo, and the smug look on her face instantly froze. She snatched it away and examined it carefully for a long time, her eyes full of disbelief. Then, she put on a look of deep sorrow and anger. "Sis, I know you don't want to marry Zane, but you can't use fake photos to deceive people. Everyone knows Zane is dumb and ugly, doing this will only make you look worse." I looked at her coldly. "If your mouth is only good for farting, then keep it shut. Whether I have the ability to get such a photo is another matter, but do you think I can just conjure up 2,000 yuan out of thin air?" The neighbors in the yard, watching the commotion, all widened their eyes. 2,000 yuan, really? How many years of farming would it take to earn that much? Jason suddenly pointed at me and shouted harshly, "All right, Mia, how dare you steal money from the supply and marketing cooperative?" As soon as he said that, everyone's expressions instantly shifted from surprise to contempt. I really didn't expect it, such dirty hands. Stealing money is a serious matter, she should be sent to the police station. No wonder she didn't take the college entrance exam, probably her usual grades were stolen too. I looked at Jason with disappointment, my heart aching faintly. In my past life, I gave almost everything for him, and in the end, to him, I was just a thief? Jenny sobbed, "Sis, how could you do such a thing? You've completely ruined our family's reputation." Jason stepped forward and grabbed me, "Come with me to the police station." Grandma shouted anxiously, "Mia wouldn't steal money. Don't even think about falsely accusing her." Jenny grabbed Grandma's arm, "Grandma, don't get involved. Jason has to handle this, or our whole family will lose face." Just then, the team leader walked in with his hands behind his back. "What's all this noise about?" Little sister immediately embellished the story about me stealing money and told it all over again. The captain frowned. "Don't talk nonsense. I just audited the supply and marketing cooperative's accounts, not a single cent is missing." The crowd turned to curse at the sister and Jason, their faces shifting between pale and flushed. The captain, upright and just, said, "Jason, you are accusing Mia of stealing money. You owe her an apology." Jason's face turned ashen, his neck stiff. "You want me to apologize to her? Who does she think she is? Mia, if you kneel down and kowtow to me now, I might consider taking a second wife in the future and give you a child with a normal mind." Jenny immediately tugged at his sleeve, tears in her eyes as she pleaded, "Jason, don't say that. It's already pitiful enough that your sister is marrying a fool." "Pitiful? I'm a college student, there are plenty of young ladies waiting eagerly to have my children. If I give her a child, that's her good fortune. Otherwise, if she really marries Zane, will she end up having a bunch of fools?" I was trembling with anger. "I'd rather spend my life with a fool than ever look at you again." "Apologize. You must apologize to me today. Otherwise, this isn't over." Jenny came to persuade me again, "Sis, Jason is only looking out for you. From now on, we're all family, seeing each other all the time. If you really run into trouble, wouldn't you still have to rely on Jason?" I sneered inwardly. Rely on him? Rely on him too, like in the past life, 'cause me to lose both myself and my child? I stood my ground, and even the team leader couldn't bear it any longer. "Jason, you've wronged Mia. You should apologize." But Jason shoved the team leader aside, his face full of arrogance. "A country girl and illiterate, worthy of an apology from a college student like me? In your dreams." With that, he walked away without looking back. Back home, I closed the courtyard gate and finally pulled out a folded letter from the envelope. Unfolding it, there was only one line, "Sorry, I'm tied up at the moment. You'll have to buy the betrothal gifts yourself." Clutching the letter, I glanced again at the handsome man in the photo, utterly confused. I even made a special trip to the Zhou family, but no one was there. I asked around, and the villagers all said that Zane was indeed a fool, with scars on his face, very ugly. I showed them the photo, but everyone shook their heads, saying the person in the picture was definitely not Zane. I could only return home full of doubts. Oh well, let it be. After all, life is just about getting by. That evening, Jason came over for dinner. My parents wore stern faces, forcing me to apologize to him. Grandma shielded me behind her, pointing at my parents and calling them a pair of wolfish spouses. The whole meal turned into a chaotic scene. Late at night, I was just falling asleep when suddenly I felt someone pulling back my blanket. The moment I opened my eyes, Jason's face was right up close. I was so startled that I kicked out, lowering my voice to scold, "Get out. I've done hard labor for years, I'm pretty strong." Jason grunted and staggered back a few steps. He was panting heavily. "Mia, listen to me. It was my fault for not letting you take the college entrance exam. I truly want to make it up to you. I've already planned it out. Tomorrow, we each marry someone else, but tonight you'll carry my child so no one will find out. I promise, I'll take good care of you and the baby from now on. Otherwise, if you stick with a fool like me, won't the villagers just bully you to death? I'm only doing this for your own good." Absurd. Shameless. I could hardly believe my ears. "Jason, you said just a few days ago that you only loved Jenny. Have you forgotten so quickly? Now, right now, get out of here." But Jason showed no intention of backing down. He stepped closer again. "Mia, don't be so stubborn. I care about you. It's just that if Jenny can't marry me, she won't survive. I only schemed against you because I had no choice. Don't worry, I'll visit you often. I can even find an excuse, say it's inconvenient to take care of my brother-in-law's family, and bring you to live with me. I promise to treat everyone fairly. I won't let you suffer even the slightest grievance. Hearing those words come out of his mouth made me want to vomit. I had long known Jason was cruel and despicable, but at this moment, he once again redefined my understanding of shameless. I opened the window and pretended to shout. This is your last warning. If you don't leave now, I'll call for help. Jason's face changed abruptly, a flash of anger and unwillingness in his eyes. He turned around and slammed the door. You'll regret this. I'm waiting for you to beg me. I collapsed onto the bed, a cold sweat breaking out across my back. If I hadn't woken up in time, if I hadn't had the strength to break free, the nightmare from my past life would have played out all over again. The pain and despair, deep in my bones, crashed over me like a tidal wave. I couldn't hold back anymore. Clutching the blanket, I wept bitterly through the entire night. Dawn broke, and my eyes were swollen like walnuts. After all, marrying off 2 daughters at the same time, the house was bustling early in the morning. Jenny's betrothal gifts and dowry were laid out all along the way, but I had nothing at all. When we left, my parents and relatives gathered around Jenny, fussing over her with warm wishes, the atmosphere full of joy. And I had only my grandmother, who anxiously held my hand. Jason rode over on a brand new motorcycle, drawing a wave of envious glances. Jenny, dressed in a bright red wedding gown, glanced at me with a smug smile. Sis, why hasn't your husband come to pick you up yet? Could he have gotten lost? She laughed coquettishly, linking her arm with Jason's and climbing onto the back seat of the motorcycle. The guests around us began whispering and pointing at me. You can't even get lost within a village's distance, only a fool would do that. She's just shameless, skipping the college entrance exam but quick to marry a fool. Jenny's the lucky one, marrying a college graduate. Grandma's face turned pale with anger, wanting to argue on my behalf. I gently shook my head and held her back. It wasn't necessary. After all, I was given a second chance at life. This little humiliation was nothing. If no one came to pick me up, I would walk there myself. Just as I was about to take a step, a black sedan approached from afar, instantly drawing everyone's attention. The car door opened, and a tall, upright figure stepped out. In the sunlight, he wore a well-fitted dark suit, his features sharp and distinguished, exuding an extraordinary aura. It was unmistakably the man from the photo. He walked straight toward me. Sorry, wife, I'm late. This is a car. Much more impressive than Jason's motorcycle. Look at this guy, he's taller and more handsome than Jason too. Jason and Jenny's faces instantly darkened like the bottom of a pot. Sis, you really went all out to find someone to act. Jenny got off the motorcycle, her eyes shining at the sight of the car. Which theater troupe did you hire this time? Before Zane could speak, a sharp young man standing beside him snapped, How dare you? This is our troop leader. Troop leader? The word hit like thunder, and everyone gasped, their murmurs growing louder. Jason's face turned ashen, pointing at Zane, his voice cracking, Impossible. He's clearly an idiot. Everyone in the neighboring village can testify, Zane is just an ugly fool. Zane finally spoke, his voice calm and strong. 5 years ago, I was injured in the face during a mission and was unconscious. I went home to recover. Later, when I healed, my mind cleared. To deceive the enemy, I never revealed the truth. Now that the mission is over, I naturally want to proudly bring my wife home. As he spoke, he stepped forward and naturally took my hand. His palm was warm, and my cheeks flushed. Grandma was so moved that tears welled up in her eyes, repeatedly expressing her joy. Just moments ago, my parents and relatives were giving me cold looks, but now they all gathered around, their faces beaming with smiles, calling me good son-in-law and commander's wife. I always knew Mia wouldn't be someone to fake things. To marry the commander, she's truly blessed. Exactly, we all thought she was going to marry a fool, but who knew she'd become the commander's wife in the blink of an eye? The atmosphere around us had completely shifted. Looking closely at Zane's handsome profile, I suddenly remembered that in my past life, I had seen him on a big character poster. A man devoted to his country, exceptionally capable, and awarded first-class merits multiple times. Zane took my hand and led me toward the sedan. Jason suddenly rushed forward, blocking our way. Anxiety flickered across Jason's usually proud face. "Mia, you can't marry him." I looked at him calmly. "Why not?" He opened his mouth, but no words came out. "I have a legitimate engagement with Zane." "Jason, what you should do now is fulfill your own engagement." With that, I stopped looking at him, linked my arm with Zane's, and got into the car. In the rearview mirror, Jason stood frozen, his eyes bloodshot, full of helplessness. Jenny stood beside him, her face looking as if she had swallowed a fly. The car slowly started moving, the scenery before me swaying unsteadily. In this life, Jason got to marry Jenny as he wished, let him enjoy his pride for a few days. As for the debt of ruining my chance at the college entrance exam, I will settle it with him slowly. Zane seemed to notice my distraction and asked softly, "What are you thinking about?" I snapped back to reality, tugging at the corner of my mouth. I was thinking, am I dreaming? How did I end up marrying the captain? He chuckled softly and lightly pinched my arm. "Does it hurt?" "Yes," I answered honestly. "Then it's not a dream." He took a bank card out of his jacket pocket and handed it to me. "From now on, all my money is yours to manage." I was stunned. "Why are you so good to me?" The light inside the carriage was soft. He looked at me with a serious gaze. "When I was a child, I fainted after falling while gathering herbs in the mountains. You carried me down and took care of me. From that moment, I liked you. I know your family's rule, only those with high college entrance exam scores can marry into the Jason family. I was afraid of holding back your future, so I never dared to speak up." My heart felt as if it had been gently struck by something, aching and soft. In this life and the last, it was the first time someone cared for me like this. My eyes grew warm. When we arrived at Zane's home, many guests were already seated, Zane's comrades and villagers from Zhojia village. Suddenly, the door to the banquet was flung open. Jason stormed in, his eyes bloodshot, staring straight at me. "Mia. You're coming with me. I'm marrying you right now." Zane immediately shielded me behind him, gripping my hand tighter, his gaze on me tinged with nervousness. I stepped out from behind him and faced Jason, speaking each word clearly, "I'm not going with you." A smile instantly appeared on Zane's face, and the tight grip on my hand loosened slightly. Jason acted as if he hadn't heard and strode toward me. "Mia, stop messing around. You like me so much, how could you not want to come with me?" He reached out to grab me. Zane stepped forward, standing in front of me, his tall figure completely shielding me. "This is my wedding with Mia. If you cause any more trouble, I'll throw you out." Zane's voice turned cold. Jason ignored everything and swore to me. "Mia, come with me. I swear, I'll treat you well for the rest of your life. We'll have lots of children, and we'll be very happy." Hearing the word children, my heart suddenly ached, and tears fell down my cheeks without warning. In my past life, I had hoped for the same. I wiped away my tears, but my voice trembled uncontrollably. "Get out of here. I will only have children with Zane." Jason seemed to suddenly understand something. The madness and stubbornness on his face vanished instantly, replaced by overwhelming panic. He staggered back a step, muttering to himself, you remember." He seemed about to say more but was cut off by a shout of anger. "Mia. You filthy bitch." Jenny stormed in, hair disheveled, makeup smeared, pointing at me and yelling, "You seduced my husband. I'll kill you." She snarled and lunged toward me. Jason snapped back to his senses and grabbed Jenny. "Are you crazy? Don't embarrass yourself here." "Embarrass myself? Jason. Are you going to abandon me for her?" Jenny cried out, surprisingly tearing at Jason in public. Zane frowned and said sternly to the people beside him, "Escort them out." Immediately, several strong young men stepped forward and without a word, forcibly escorted the still arguing Jason and Jenny out. The wedding banquet returned to calm, but the atmosphere was somewhat subtle. Zane squeezed my hand tightly and whispered, "It's okay now. I heard that Jenny and Jason had a huge fight on the way back, and when they got home, they even overturned the wine table. The guests barely ate a few bites before awkwardly leaving. The whole village, inside and out, was making a joke out of them. It wasn't until the day I went home that I saw them show up. Jason saw me instinctively move closer and was about to say something when Zane suddenly pulled me into a tight embrace. "Brother-in-law, if you have something to say, tell me." Jason actually walked away as if deeply hurt, but his eyes remained glued to me. Even when Jenny pinched him, he ignored her. I pretended not to notice. Jenny and Jason came over carrying 2 bottles of wine, a few pounds of snacks, and a pound of pork. If it weren't for Zane's grand gesture for comparison, this kind of betrothal gift would still be acceptable. Zane brought 2 plump pig hind legs, 2 large jars of tightly sealed wine, and a whole bolt of polyester fabric in the season's most popular sea blue. Besides that, there were several neatly wrapped boxes of pastries and oil paper, clearly top-quality goods from the city's supply and marketing cooperative. "When you pushed me off the cliff, didn't you ever think that the child in my belly was yours too?" A flicker of panic crossed Jason's face, but he quickly replaced it with a look of deep affection. "Mia, the moment I pushed you, I regretted it. Now, all I want is to make it right. At that time I was young and reckless, blinded by so-called love. You should forgive my mistakes and give me a chance." The same shameless excuse as always. I cut him off. "Jason, guess how I'm going to get back at you now that I've been reborn?" With that, I slipped back into the crowd. As the banquet was winding down, the postman hurried over on his bicycle. "A letter for Jason." Jason stood up, a puzzled look on his face. Some sharp-eyed villagers had already gathered around. "Hey, it's an envelope from X University. Jason is really impressive. Could it be that the university thinks he's so outstanding that they sent a letter specifically to select him as an outstanding freshman representative?" For a moment, the compliments rang out again. But the unease on Jason's face grew deeper. He took the letter, opened it, and his complexion instantly turned pale, filled with shock and despair. A nosy bystander leaned in and loudly read the letter aloud. The letter was simple. After verification, X University confirmed that Jason had committed the heinous acts of kidnapping others and maliciously preventing them from taking the college entrance exam. The school has decided to revoke his admission. With a bang, the courtyard was filled with murmurs and whispers. Jenny suddenly rushed over, pointing at my nose and shouting, "Mia! Was it you who did this?" I met her gaze calmly. "So what if it was me? Jason kidnapped me and ruined my college entrance exam. Does he really think he can just go to university with a clear conscience?" The villagers' eyes changed when they looked at Jason. "Beast! How hard is it for a girl to study? This is ruining her whole life. Pah! Heartless creature. Mia treated him so well, and he turned around to destroy her future. So cruel, and he even says he'll support the villagers. What a joke." Many people stuffed the gifts they had just given back into their pockets and turned to leave. If Jenny weren't still a college student, everyone would probably have left by now. On the way back, the moonlight was cold and clear. Zane was silent for a long time, then suddenly spoke. "I overheard some of what you said to Jason in the bathroom just now." He paused for a moment, looking at me. "Child, what happened?" I was stunned for a moment, not expecting him to ask that. Under the moonlight, Zane's gaze was serious and tinged with nervousness. I took a deep breath and told him everything, how Jason harmed me in my past life, how I was reborn, and all the details. Including the unborn child. I spoke slowly but clearly. "If you don't trust me, or if it bothers you, we can get a divorce. Everything you've given me, I'll return to you." Zane suddenly grabbed me, his strength like he wanted to crush me into his bones. "You scared me to death." His voice was muffled, tinged with lingering fear. "I never doubted you. I just thought there was something unclear between you and Jason before. When I heard about the child, I was really afraid you'd be at a disadvantage. He loosened his grip on me slightly, cupping my face, his eyes full of tenderness. Mia, you've suffered. If I had known it would be like this, I should have just taken you away right from the start. He rarely said anything playful, and I laughed at him, the weight in my heart finally lifting. I brought Grandma to the military compound and prepared a sunny room just for her. My parents found out and threw a tantrum, rolling on the floor to follow me. Mia, now that you've made something of yourself, you've forgotten your parents? I'm your real father. Without us, who would take care of your child? Your grandmother is already so old. I looked at them steadily. Since I was 5, I've been helping with the housework. I raised the pigs, I planted the crops, and I earned my tuition by gathering herbs and doing odd jobs. What have you ever given me? What have you done for me? For those 5 years of raising me, I will pay you monthly living expenses, but beyond that, you have no claim. My mother immediately lay on the ground crying about my unfilial behavior, and my father shouted at the top of his lungs, calling people over to condemn me. I was too tired to argue with them, so I just closed the door and left by car. Another June arrived, and I once again stepped into the college entrance exam hall. This time I was calm and composed, and I was admitted to my dream key university. As for Jason, ever since he was exposed at the university banquet, no school was willing to accept him. I heard he fell into a slump, spending his days drinking at home and breaking things, becoming the laughingstock of the village. After graduating from university, Jenny found a job. Her meager salary had to support the whole family, and Jason often stole money to buy alcohol and meat, spending time with his shady friends. The two of them argued constantly, and it even turned physical. The worst time, both ended up in the hospital. Later, Jenny had an affair with a colleague from the company and was caught by Jason at a guest house, where he beat her nearly to death. Even so, Jason refused to divorce. With bloodshot eyes, he said, "It's you, Jenny, who ruined me like this. You should support me for the rest of my life." Life went on in this chaotic, tumultuous way. Until one day, Jason got drunk, staggered down the street, and was hit and killed by a speeding truck. Zane and I took our 2 children to attend his funeral. Jenny was dressed in black, looking utterly haggard, her hair dry and yellowed, her eyes hollow. When she saw me, her gaze flickered away. After a moment, she forced out a smile more painful than crying and pushed a small, skinny boy in front of me. "Xiaobao, quick, call me Auntie." The child glanced at me timidly and whispered, "Auntie." Jenny immediately continued, "Xiaobao, you have to be good to Auntie from now on. Auntie has the ability, and I will definitely help you in the future, understand?" The corners of the eyes and brows of the person in front of me were full of cautious flattery. Is this still the spoiled Jenny? She looked pitiful, but she had brought this on herself. I am not a saint, I hold grudges. I remained silent, saying nothing. The atmosphere instantly became awkward. Jenny's gaze turned venomous. "You're my own sister, how can you watch me suffer like this? You have such a cruel heart." My son and daughter rushed over, one on each side, grabbing my hands and pulling me toward Zane. "Mom, Dad is calling you." They pulled me over to Zane, who put his arm around my shoulder. "What's going on?" I whispered to him. He leaned close to Meyer. "You look a bit troubled, so I'll help you out. Tonight, you owe me a dish of braised pig's trotters with soybeans." I smiled and nodded. "All right, I'll add sweet and sour spare ribs for you." The story ends.